Welcome to Lincoln Park TV. I'm your host, Anthony Maynard, and today we are going to be interviewing Pastor Hazel Hoylman of In the Image of Christ here in Lincoln Park in Fort Pierce. Pastor Hazel, thank you for joining our program. I know we've been trying to schedule you and get you on for a little bit. We're glad that you're here with us. If you can start off by telling our viewers just a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, how you first received your calling, and how long you've been in ministry.
Well, thank you for the invite, Anthony. And I have to be real honest with you. You asked me, when did I receive the calling? And I do believe that as a child, I had this type of calling to be able to help people. I didn't understand it back then. What brought me into doing what I'm doing now, it started back when HIV was basically unknown. And I was working at the St. Lucie County Health Department. And one of my sisters, very close friend, we're just like sisters, came into Christ, and we found out that she was HIV positive. And so it started with HIV and AIDS and the epidemic, and the churches were fully not knowing what to do or how to interact with people who were HIV positive and where to go from there. So that's where it started at. I've been in this field for a very long time. I can tell you that I started with HIV and AIDS in 1993, working at St. Lucie County Health Department as in tuberculosis, taking out preventive medications and medication for those who had TB. And then I met people who were co-infected, and it just went on from there. So since 1993, I've been doing this. In 2001, the Lord gave me the vision about opening up or starting a nonprofit. The original name for In the Image of Christ was For His Glory. But when my husband went to incorporate that name was taken. And being sometimes self-centered, I'm like, Lord, they done took my name. And in prayer and fasting, the Lord gave me In the Image of Christ. I did not understand the fullness of it in the beginning. He also gave me Matthew, the 25th chapter of the book of Matthew again. And so that's where our mandate comes from. And so, we've been doing this for a little while, and I just give God praise that He allows me to do it. I am not a native of Fort Pierce. I moved here 37 years ago. I moved to Fort Pierce from Central Florida. I am a native of Florida, born and raised in Central Florida. And so situations in my life was very unmanageable. And my parents deemed it necessary to give me an ultimatum to either come to Fort Pierce to stay with my aunt. And at that time I had 3 children, or suffer the consequences of being separated from them. And so I chose to come here. And I really believe that this was the will of God for my life, because here is where my passion is and where my heart is, in Fort Pierce.
Okay. Understandable. Thank you for that. I think that gives the viewing audience a good sense of your background. Now, you mentioned your nonprofit and starting in that work, being inspired to start in that. In terms of In the Image of Christ, you shared now how you got that name, which is a fantastic one. Could you tell us a little bit more about that nonprofit? Exactly, we know you started in AIDS, but what type of work and what type of projects is the nonprofit engaged in now?
Well, In the Image of Christ is just what its name is. We're about meeting the needs of the whole person, because that's what Christ does for us when we come into and receive Him as our personal Savior. And so it's about meeting the whole need. In the Image of Christ, we have a food pantry 3 days a week. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. hours changed due to COVID, and we're about to look at those hours again. But that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have a closed closet, and I tell you, we have some really nice things that have been donated to us to give back to our community. Every service at In the Image of Christ is a free service. We also do HIV/AIDS education and testing and STD screenings. I believe in my whole heart that HIV is a disease of opportunity. And what I mean by that is that when you know how to prevent that disease, because HIV is 100% preventable, then you can protect yourself. And so we really engage in that program. We really want to educate people on how to protect themselves, knowing that once you have HIV, then what do we need to do to help you have quality of life? And so those resources are in place where we connect people who are positive into services, and with a partnership with St. Lucie County Health Department. We also do utility bills, where we pay utility bills, Florida Power and Light, Fort Pierce Utilities. We pay deposits, we turn lights back on, old bills. We do that. And that's a partnership we have with ALPI. And it's such a blessing to be able to do these services. We also, have what we call the Hands Up program. And that's where people who are homeless, we give them a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up. And we have a program where individuals can be in a facility for a while, not pay rent, not worry about food, but just focus on a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and then getting back on their feet, and then transitioning back into the community. And so those are some of the services that we have. We also have a partnership a great partnership too, with Children's Service Council, where we have prevention. I want to say pregnancy prevention, but it's more of letting our young women find the strength that they have on the inside of them to be able to negotiate. Has a lot to do with being just proud of who you are as an individual. That's our Directive Girl Growth Program. Dominique Douglas is the director of that. And that's geared toward African American females from the ages of 14 to 18. And it is literally peer based. So we have that service there too. So we have a number of services that we have. We have been donated a second ambulance from the fire district, which serves as outreach for us. We use that as a mobile unit to go out in the community to do free HIV testing and education. And we also have a program, probably jumping around a little bit, but I have a program with Children's Service Council, the Launchpad program, for those children or for those parents who did not want to send their children back to a traditional school, wanting them to have the virtual learning, but may not have the resources or the ability to do it at home because they have to work. So we have a facility on 3090 Avenue G for that Launchpad program. It is such a blessing to be able to empower, not only empower, but let our young people see the strength that they have on the inside of them.
Okay. That is fantastic. That array of programming, I'm glad that you're able to share that so many people are going to be able to view that information and see what programs are applicable to themselves and their family. Seems like you're providing the community with a lot of help there. As you may know, Treasure Coast Studios is executing the Protecting the Village campaign. Yes. Lincoln Park TV, the Lincoln Park Guide, and all that we're doing here is part of that. Part of our work in Lincoln Park up until December of this year to try to have an impact on voting, the census, economic development, and Lincoln Park in general. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was in relation to Lincoln Park. Having migrated from Central Florida and been working in the community as long as you have, what are the main differences? Can you identify some differences between Lincoln Park when you started and what you see now? The new initiatives that have come in, including Allegheny Franciscan Ministries. Can you speak a little bit about that and what you're seeing and how hopeful you are for the future based on what's been brought into the community lately?
I tell you, that's a great question. Now you got me started, okay? And the reason why I can say that is that what I see now with Allegheny Franciscan Ministries coming in, with you guys coming in, and different ones coming in, it's not that savior mentality. It is not that. You are engaging the community to find out what we need and what we want. And I want to say that's a very important thing, because you can't help me unless you communicate with me to find out what I need in order to get the help that I need. And I want to say that again. So this is what I see. In the beginning, there was a lot of, I'm trying to find the right words. It was a lot of people coming in with initiatives and programs. And I'm not saying that they were bad programs or indifferent programs. All the programs was good. But you can't meet my need if you don't know what my need is. And you cannot tell me what my need is. You have to ask me. You may view it as a problem. But until I view it as a problem, trust me, it's not a problem. And so that's what I'm seeing now. I see where the community is being, brought into conversation, that we bringing them in, asking, what is it that you want or what is it that you need? And then making those our goals, instead of coming in saying, okay, this is what I think you need. This is what we're going to do. And you're going to have to take that. That's not happening now. And I'm very, very happy about that, because it doesn't work unless you get my buy-in. And so I really see where now with Allegheny Franciscan Ministry, the Common Good initiatives, what you guys are doing here at T-Coast, I see where the community is being asked for input.
Right. And I really thank you, and I appreciate you saying that. That's been a big part of our approach from the time we thought up this campaign and went to Allegheny with the proposal. The idea of engaging the community and working with them instead of coming in and pointing or dictating what they should do. That's been a staple of what we've done. So it's good to know that that is being recognized, or that the community can see that. So we thank you for offering that, and we'll continue to do that. We're here to help. In conclusion, last week we had Dr. Elizabeth Jackson on. She talked about Souls to the Polls and getting the churches involved in that. As far as you in the image of Christ, the upcoming vote, what are the next steps for you in the organization and some of the current involvement and things that you've got going on or upcoming going into the next year?
One of the things that I believe it with my whole heart, is that if you're going to change something, then you have to get involved in it. And I vote, we have been given the ability to vote. And so many people say, well, my vote don't count. Well, it don't count if you don't vote, but if you do vote. And so I'm pushing people to vote. I tell them, I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm just saying that exercise your right as an American citizen to do so, and be educated when you do that. And so we're partnered with two different agencies. We partnered with FRRC, with Rights and Restoration Coalition. We partner with them. They actually have an office at Image, where they are engaging the community, going out into community and registering people to vote, and which I'm very happy about. But they're also paying off fines and fees for those who have felonies, and because of the court costs, cannot vote, even though we as citizens voted for them, their rights to be restored in order to vote. Because of those fines and fees, they cannot vote. And so we're partnered with them. So those fines and fees, Desmond Meade is just such an awesome young man. And he actually came to the office and worked. I don't know how many people we did that day. And so I was very grateful about that. And I'm still pushing that idea, because a lot of times people get in trouble again because they need to go to work, or they need to go to the grocery store, or something they need to take care of, which involves driving. And because of those court fees and those fines, they can't even get a driver's license. So it eliminates a lot of those barriers to those individuals, and they call them returning citizens. It eliminates a lot of those barriers, and I'm really, really happy about that. The other one that we're partnering with Dr. Jackson. You see that big old smile on my face. She's such a great mentor. And that's with Faith in Florida. And that is Souls to the Polls. This is not the first time I've done this. I want to say we've been involved with Dr. Jackson with Souls to the Polls for a very long time. And that is to engage our community. Souls in the Polls was a way to engage the African American churches or the churches to get out and vote. And so with that initiative on the 31st of October, it's geared to more towards the millennials. And so what would that look like? Well, we're inviting them to come out via social media, inviting them to come out, engaging them, inviting them to come out to the First Step Park. And we have our DJ Lee will be playing music. You know, we'll have prayer. We'll have different other programs. We also have food vendors there. And we're going to march to the polls to vote. I want to say that again. We're going to march to the polls to vote. So many times we come together and people see that as a negative thing, but this is very positive. We're going to go, we're going to march to the polls, vote, and then march back again and disperse. We are observing CDC guidelines. So we have that social distancing, but also we ask that you wear masks. We just want to be very mindful of that because this is something that we want to do. We want to go out and vote. And so that's important. And on that Sunday, we are mobilizing our pastors in our community and their congregations. We know that that's first Sunday, and to us, that's a very important Sunday in most churches because we do communion. But after that service is over with for the pastor or someone in the congregation who they designate, will parade to the polls. So they will leave their churches and just drive down to the polls, and we're going to Zora Neale Hurston Library on Avenue D. And so we're really excited about this. The event also will be held at First Step Park at 3090 Avenue G in the glorious, beautiful city of Fort Pierce. Everybody is welcome to come. Even though we're mobilizing in Fort Pierce, it's also two events scheduled for Port St. Lucie. And so it's just coming together saying, okay, we're going to exercise our right to vote. And so on that Sunday, which is November the 1st, we will parade with the cars driving from 31st and Avenue G over to the poll on Avenue D. So very excited about that, but I don't stop after Election Day because voting for the president is good, but we still have a Congress and we still have a Senate. And so those things are very important. We just can't cast that vote and say, well, I voted for the president and he's not doing what I said. We have to understand that there's a Congress and there is a Senate, and we have to engage that. And if these people are not doing what we want them to do, if they're not representing our communities, we can vote them out. Oh, I want to say it again. We can vote them out. But we can't do that unless we become educated and go out and cast a vote.
Well said. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Hazel. You have been a pillar in the community. You've been a great help to the Protecting the Village campaign. We thank you for all that you and your organization in the Image of Christ does. We will keep you posted as we move forward. Souls to the Polls, the weekend, October 31st. TCOS will have involvement with that as well as the Protecting the Village campaign. So we hope to get everybody out and mobilizes the church, the community, and everyone else, all the other service agencies that have involvement to make an impact on this coming vote. We thank you again, Pastor Hazel, for joining us, being a part of Lincoln Park TV and all of the work, the wonderful work that you and your organization does. Thank you again.